Welcome back, barbarians. Today we are concluding my new podcast series. This is me and an anti-feminist discussing the burning train wreck known as the American dating market, millennials, feminism, modern women, and what a lot of men with a red pill lens can expect in today's delusional dating market. Enjoy. What you're trying to do is pull me back onto the reservation, I think.
I don't want you to.
Well, I mean, you don't realize you're doing it, but what you're doing is trying to pull me back into the feminized belief system. That is to say, the comforting lies that don't serve men, because that's what women will do. Like, you said you read my blogs, and so you read the part about the betatization through 1,000 concessions that guys will go through with women. Yeah. This is what you're trying to do with me. Inadvertently, you don't realize that you're doing it. You don't see yourself doing it. The viewers who follow me and read my articles are starting to understand it. Comment down below, guys. But what I'm trying to say is that you're subconsciously trying to get me to subscribe to things and beliefs that do not serve me, my purpose in life as a man, and let me keep myself as my own mental point of origin. That is what female solipsism is. It's the inability for women to get past their ego and to see past their own noses. Women, like I said before, want things to be a certain way. I'll give you an easy example. So it's no secret by now that I don't date single mothers. Nothing personal to those women. It just is what it is. I've seen far too many of my friends get involved in the lifestyles of these women. A lot of them are emotionally unavailable to be in serious relationships with men to begin with. A lot of them add a layer of complexity to men's lives that they simply don't need if they're leveling up in life, if they're working, trying to build their legacy, going to college, whatever that case may be. Hey, other guys are fine with that. For me, I have no interest in that whatsoever. Now, there are plenty of women who know this about me, and there are single mothers who I'm actually very close friends with, and they know this about me, and they accept this for what it is. Now, there's also a lot of single mothers who know this about me and who can't accept this about me. So what do? They shit test me to see if I'm going to back down from something they know that I believe in. And this takes various manifestations. They pretend like they don't watch my content. They pretend like they're not on my social media, like they haven't read something that I've said, or that they act aloof, basically. And all the time I get texts from some of these women, they're asking me to hang out with them and their kids, knowing for a fact that I'll say no. And it's the same thing, basically, at the end of this conversation we're having right now. These are similar traits that you're kind of exhibiting. But getting back to what we were talking about before, men and women are complements to one another if it's allowed by the culture. And right now, it's not allowed by the culture, which is why people are so disoriented, confused, and dysfunctional. I mean, you have this Cardi B, WAP bullshit propaganda teaching women to be ball busting and masculine. So, a lot of men with common sense are bailing out of that charade. Like I've said before, and I'll say it again, and I know a lot of women don't want to hear this, but this is the simple fact of the matter. No man that actually respects himself has any use whatsoever for domineering women who think they're men, period. And the only men who go for that kind of thing, I might add, are beta males. It's really that simple. Now, on the other hand, no women who actually respect themselves want beta male doormats for boyfriends or husbands either. So as much as the pop culture is kind of sending out this, it's hard to describe, but I'll try to conceptualize it a little bit. I mean, they send out this message that's sold to young girls and women in the form of the Cardi B, WAP bullshit, basically teaching women to be sluts from a very early age, to be domineering, ball busting, boss babe, boss mode, boss bitch, all this other stuff. That's the normal, quote unquote, normalized message that gets fed out to people 24/7. And I realize there's a lot of women who are proud of this. They think it's, the best thing for them because like I said, we're basically looking at a global cult where, women have been convinced by the narrative of feminism that they're going to have their moment in the sun and that, everyone's going to bow down and worship them and all this other stuff. And as numerous speakers with 21 and 22 studios have mentioned, this is complete horseshit. Psychologist Richard Grannon just gave a great speech at the 21 convention in Orlando, and he was talking about how all of this brainwashing stuff that's going on right now, they're actually just various manifestations of communist demoralization. And that seriously best explains all of this delusional nonsense we're seeing in culture, because basically what it's doing from an early age, it teaches women, girls, and then eventually women to hate and fear men, to see no use in them, to be hostile to them, when traditionally, men and women had to love and cooperate with one another if they actually wished to survive and ensure bloodlines. And obviously, that's not what's going on in the culture right now, because the communists are winning. And if you need any proof of that, like I've said before, look at the 67% American divorce rate. Look at the fact that 52% of women are now single. And as much as they arrogantly, these boss queens want to arrogantly chant, we don't need no man, make no mistake, those women are not single by choice. They're single for a reason, because a lot of men have been wising up to their acts through groups like ours, whether that's Red Pill or the Manosphere, and they're bailing out of this charade. So yep, you got 52% of women now single for a reason, and all this other stuff. So all of this cultural conditioning that's going on right now, as much as people think that they're going to have fulfillment for their lives, getting all this cheap TikTok fame or twerking their ass or doing whatever they're doing, all of this is loser shit. Like, it really is. And I understand that there's people out there, they don't want to hear it. Hey, maybe that's all they really have to aspire to in life. Like I said, Jack Donovan talks about this a lot, and it's the truth. Unfortunately, the reality is a lot of people today, their God is the God of mediocrity. They're not Christians, they're not pagans, they don't believe in any ethos, they have no guiding belief system. So the only God they really have left is mediocrity. And how does that take shape? It takes shape with all these celebrity worshiping consumerist drones. You got people who can tell you more about their favorite sports ball team, or like I said, some dumb bitch like Cardi B, than they can about any historical figure throughout history, any of the great men and women of old. They have literally no knowledge of world history, American history, anything like that. So yeah, the God of mediocrity is by far the God of the modern masses. So hey, it is what it is. Some people, that's all they're ever going to do for their lives. And hey, let them keep doing whatever they're doing. Don't waste any time on them. But I don't know. I mean,
Okay. Do you wish women were different?
yeah, I mean, I wish people knew how to just live in the moment these days without telling all of us about it 24/7. I wish we didn't have social media. I wish we didn't have women posting thousands of mirror selfies on Instagram all the time. I wish we didn't have TikTok and OnlyFans and chicks jumping around like a bunch of monkeys. I wish women didn't have the right to vote and keep fucking up this country. You know what I mean?
Do you wish for a deeper that you could have a deeper love with women?
I already have deep love with women. The women who are, like I've said before, the women who are in my life accept what works for me. The ones that I have nothing to do with, that is by design. I've taken very deliberate steps over the years to cultivate my personality, to solidify my will, to make it known, to, in a time when everybody else wants to walk around on eggshells and be all passive aggressive and try to hide their beliefs or try to skirt issues and all this other stuff. I don't, I spent a good majority of my life, I guess you would call it, playing Mr. Nice Guy. And I don't do that anymore, whether it's with men or women or anybody else. I really have no use trying to pretend to be somebody that I'm not. And, like I said, there's women that are in my life that accept that for what it is. And the ones that can't, I literally never hear back from them. And that's fine. Like, the feeling's mutual. Like, and this is another reason why a lot of guys get burnt out with dating. some of the guys that I've coached in the past, they get in these relationships and then they wonder why stuff starts falling apart. And, the more I talk to them, I'm asking them basic questions, like how many common values did you guys share, common interests, this and that, how much was she actually taking an initiative to do things for you? Guys have this whole nice guy act, kind of, shoved into their skulls from childhood, thinking that, and I'm not saying that there's not some use in chivalry. I'm not, telling guys to go out there and be, total unadulterated assholes. But, the simple fact of the matter is, women hate doormats. And so, I ask a lot of these guys, did you ever have her, do stuff for you? I mean, usually when women want men to stick around, they'll, make it known that they're there to try to improve their lives. They'll do something nice for them from time to time. Some of the most high quality women will actually pay for dates when they go out for men. A lot of guys have this notion of, oh, well, I have to pay for the first date and I have to do this and I have to do that. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Like a lot of the women that I'm affiliated with now, like when we go out, a lot of times they're the ones that initiate, paying for the date or doing this or doing that. And it doesn't always happen, but it's just, once again, women who have common sense, who aren't, like emotional manipulators or all this other stuff, or a bunch of ungrateful, like we had joked before, a bunch of ungrateful gypsies and sirens, those women know what it takes to keep men around. So they show initiative. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying, I'll ask a lot of these guys, why they think it fell apart. And like, it's so oblivious to them sometimes. And it always comes back to the same thing. And I tell these guys, I'm like, you got to stop being a chump. You got to stop being a nice guy. This is why women have no respect for you. This is why they see you as a beta male, provider, all this other stuff. Those are the guys that we all know that the only time these women get in touch with them is when they need a favor, they need a tire change, they're crying on their social platforms like, oh, woe is me, can somebody bring me a coffee or bring me lunch or blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, they're getting railed back at home by their alpha counterpart or whatever. And who runs to the rescue? The beta male nice guys, the guys that think they're going to get laid by these chicks for, being a hero and all this other stuff. So all this stuff we talk about in the dating community, it's legitimate. I know there's a lot of women out there who don't want these messages getting out there because, it means that they're going to lose a lot of beta male chumps that they've been manipulating and exploiting this whole time for, their own ends. But, like, it is what it is. And this is why a lot of guys get burnt out. And, like I tell those guys, when you're focusing on yourself and what you want in relationships and all this other stuff, you're not going to tolerate any bullshit. So, you know what, when you find these women, and whether they're on their socials, saying all this stupid shit like boss queen and all this other nonsense and this and that, just like, it's pretty obvious. Just look at those women, look at the image that they put out there to the public and look at the results they get. And you'll notice when you see all of these beta males, simping for them, liking the selfies, sending them heart emojis, that should be like, I say this all the time, those are pretty obvious red flag indicators right from the start, where if you were even considering dating or pursuing this woman ahead of time, that should automatically be a red flag for you to be like, you know what? Okay, no, she's a manipulator. She sees no value in men. She's not going to respect like an alpha archetype of a man or anything like that. She's only looking for, chumps basically that she can manipulate and do whatever. So, it's pretty obvious. And like I said, I realize the god of mediocrity is now the guiding ethos in Western society now. So if you're setting the bar pretty high, it's going to be hard to sometimes for you not to find women like that, because like I said, like, this shit is literally a cult. I mean, you're hard pressed not to find women these days who, aren't sticking their tongues out in selfies because Cardi B told them to do it. You're hard pressed to find any, God forbid, any anti-feminists out there who are like, yeah, feminism's fucking stupid. It's done nothing but destroy the nuclear family unit over time. You know what? I love men. I love my country. I love patriarchy. I love being a submissive housewife, whatever the case may be, whether these women are actually trolling people in the trad life lifestyle, or if they're actually genuine about it, like, yeah, you are hard pressed to find women like that. And like I said, it's because the way this culture has conditioned everybody, like, you're literally looking at a monolithic system of indoctrination. So, hey, like, at this point, it's like, I don't know. I tell guys, just do the best you can, focus on yourself, and and the best thing they can do for themselves is just to drop the nice guy act. Like, you get absolutely nowhere in life being a nice guy and all this other stuff. Not only do women take advantage of you in that situation, but anyone else can take advantage of you too. One of my trainers and I was just talking recently at one of our studios. It's a martial arts studio, and we're just talking about just core masculinity virtues, things that used to be valuable in this culture and this and that. And we were talking about how, it's pretty pathetic how most average guys, if you go out on the street today, you can ask any average guy if they know how to do anything from change their oil to change a tire, to, maybe have to step up and be a hero and disarm a guy if they tried to like rob them or something. No, half these guys can't do any of that stuff. I mean, now on the other hand, they know how to order Uber Eats. They know how to go, super like some chick's shit on Instagram or something like that. They know how to smoke weed and play video games all day. They know how to do all of that. And then, those are the quote men that a lot of these women who are manipulators love for whatever reason. Those are the men that you see on a daily basis. Society's applauding them as heroes. Like, they're fucking losers. Like, and that's why, like, when I was talking to the instructor about it, I said, masculinity is something that I look at on a common sense basis. It doesn't need to be this huge philosophical quest for you. It's basically, and especially when you're thinking in terms of tribalism, it's like, okay, you want to surround yourself with men who can handle themselves if shit were to hit the fan. Do you want to be surrounded by a bunch of dad bod morons who, have their, busted girlfriends and wives running their ass 24/7? Or do you want guys who, are fucking weapons, guys who are not sociopaths, but they're capable of violence if necessary. They're capable of defending their boundaries and defending their borders. And this is one of the most obvious things that's going on right now in the culture, and hardly anyone wants to talk about it. But the simple fact of the matter is, if you have men now who beta down for women, they can't even control their relationships with women. They want women to run their relationships, run their ass, run everything. How the hell do you expect those men to step up and do all of this other stuff? I mean, like, if you're going to look at masculinity as a gauntlet, and if men actually want to improve themselves, one of the simplest places to start with that is to stop being a beta male for women. Because if you're a beta male for women, then you're probably going to end up being a victim for other men down the road too. Because I'm telling you right now, there's guys out there who, they're not beta males, they're alpha as fuck, or they're sigma males, meaning they're on that borderline spectrum of sociopath, kind of lone wolf kind of people, I guess you would say. Those people are actually going to be a threat to you down the road. So if you can't handle yourself with women, whether that's, verbal arguments or just simply telling women like, hey, this is me. If you don't like it, pound sand, you can leave. I don't need you in my life. You can't even say something like that to a woman. How the hell do you expect to defend yourself from a man who's going to try to kill you or kill somebody that you love or this and that? I mean, this is the whole point of talking about masculinity, developing it, focusing on it. And like I said, this is why a lot of these systems are failing, and why I don't even affiliate with a lot of Christian communities now, because, even the Christian communities, they're the same as the culture they pretend to be fighting against. It's a bunch of dad bod, soy boy losers, all this other stuff. I have no use for men like that, if you can even call them men. I don't want their, they send me invitations all the time, like, oh, hey, come to our barbecue, do this and do that. I don't want brotherhood with people like that. I am not interested in that. At this point in my life, I'm interested in core brotherhood with actual men, and I'm interested in leadership. And if I find myself in a situation where I don't see those facets of masculinity being represented, then I'm leaving that situation. Like, it is what it is. I have no use for it. All right. So I guess that'll be the conclusion for now. I think we got to the bottom of a lot of the hot topic issues. I'm sure a lot of people are enraged. I'm sure a lot of other people are enlightened. And yeah, I feel pretty happy about that. Hopefully we can do this again. I'm going to ask for the next time that you don't try to poke holes in my life for whatever reason. I don't know, what I got going on works fine for me, and I think we can leave it at that.
Trying to poke holes. I swear to God, I'm not. I wish I could correct some. I'm not trying to fuck with you.
No, you don't have to prove anything. I'm just joking with you. I mean, I know you're analytical and you're a smart chick, but basically what you're trying to do with all this is take female nature and add a bit of Einstein to it and pour it into a blender and try to fuck with me. So it's all right. I appreciate the challenge, but that's why I agreed to this podcast. But yeah, I mean, just there's no need to do that in the future. Like I said before, that's what all these stupid boss queens and all these other delusional people do. Don't be a boss queen. Be a real woman. That'll be one of our new hashtag campaigns that maybe I'll make some merch for that. Swipe left on boss queens, get a real woman, something like that.
Okay.
But you're never gonna be me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they drag the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place. I wanna be first, work till it hurts. Dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life. Better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they drag the chains, you can say no, free me.
There's that word again, feminist. Why are things so feminist in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?